Hello everyone and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we're taking a look at Battle Class Jetfire with Tank Cannon Spark Armor from Transformers Cyberverse Power of the Spark. I've been having a lot of fun with these recently. If you've seen my previous review of Prowl and Starscream, definitely excited to pick up more of these. I've just been having fun with them. I think the new Spark Armor is a very fun gimmick, so excited to find more of these. You can see on the side here it does say Battle Class, which is kind of a new price point for Cyberverse. These are $14.99 each, found it at my local Target. Not too much going on the bottom there. Taking a look on the back, you can see Jetfire. Then you have the vehicle mode for him, as well as the combined mode with the Tank Cannon Spark Armor. Down here you can see the Prowl and the Starscream I already reviewed, and then of course there's Skybite, which I was also able to find at Target when I found this guy, so review of him will be coming soon. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the packaging. Let's get him out of there, and let's take a closer look. Here is Jetfire with the Tank Cannon Spark Armor. The Tank Cannon Spark Armor is pretty basic, but it's a cool little tank. I like it quite a bit. If you want, you can take the barrel off and just kind of give it to him as a gun. That's going to happen later in Spark Armor, but if you want, you can just use that by itself, and then the tank still has these kind of two little forward cannons. So he could still operate on his own if you wanted to equip him with the gun just on its own. But otherwise, that just pegs back in there. So it's pretty cool. Nice little detailing. You can see the treads are painted here. Nice little bit of paint here on the barrel of the gun. So overall, pretty cool. It kind of reminds me of the bulldozer from Starscream. Very similar because of how like the treads come off and everything like that. And you'll see when we actually connect the Spark Armor. Kind of reminiscent of the bulldozer. But yeah, pretty cool. We'll put him off to the side. Take a look at Jetfire. I definitely like the robot mode. I think it looks really cool. The shoulders are a little far away from the body, but it's not that big a deal. I still think it looks pretty cool. I kind of wish those pegs were just a bit shorter, but I think it has something to do with the transformation. We'll get there in a moment. But yeah, really like the look of the robot mode. I think the face sculpt looks pretty good. The paint's nice. The blue of the eyes is a little smudgy with the white on the face. But overall, not too bad. Autobot symbol on the chest looks good. Blue for the canopy here is good. Blue on the head is good. Red down here looks good. It's got a little bit of jet kibble on the back, but it really doesn't bother me. I think it works well. Doesn't really impede his articulation all that much. A little bit in the hips. Head does not move. Ball joint here. In the shoulder, you can kind of see how it's like a little loose here, but like as you kind of move it around, it's real tight here. So it's kind of weird. As you move the shoulder joint around, some places the ball joint is real loose, and then other places it's real snug. So you can still get good poses out of them. You have 90-degree bend in the elbow. Ball joint in the hip. You can see out to the side, kick to the front. It can go a little bit to the back, but again, you run into the back kibble there. And then he's got 90 degrees in the knee. And then he's got a little bit of ankle tilt, but that's really for the transformation. But overall, I think it's a pretty solid little robot mode. I like it quite a bit. He's real stocky. Kind of reminds me, again, of Starscream. I know they're both jets, but the vehicle mode is kind of really nice and like just a cool, dynamic look. And I actually like it quite a bit. Let's go ahead and let's bring in the Spark Armor for combination. So again, very similar to Starscream. You lift this part up. You take off the treads on the side. You're going to take this piece and flip it out. That's going to peg into the two peg holes on his shoulders. So you just go ahead, drop that down. This will come all the way down. Little peg here will peg into the peg hole on the chest. I guess I don't have this pushed down all the way. There we go. Peg that in, and then this just kind of lifts up and sits back. And that's kind of the other part that reminds me of Starscream, because this doesn't have a way to fold down farther. Now with Jetfire, it makes a little bit more sense because he's got all this jet kibble here, so there's not really anywhere for it to go anyway. But it just kind of sits back there like that. So again, kind of like a samurai looking helmet there, which is kind of cool. Got some missile pods on the side. You can see some treads here from the tank and the chest armor, which I think is pretty cool. Now, unlike Starscream, I mean, I guess you could peg these onto the leg if you wanted, but they're meant to peg into the arms. But instead of pegging into the shoulder, they peg into the forearms. So you just want to make sure the gun part is facing down, and then you just peg these in. You want to kind of straighten the arm out. I find it works a little bit easier if you do that. So we just peg this in like that, and then you go ahead and give them that gun like I showed earlier. See, the only problem is with them pegging into the elbows, or the forearms rather, it's harder to bend the elbow because you have to make sure this doesn't hit the wing. So if you want him to hold the gun like this, you kind of have to bend it, and then you have that piece sticking out, which doesn't look terrible, but I find it's just a little bit easier to just kind of raise the whole arm. But again, because of how the ball joint is, it's kind of loose in that position. But you could kind of put it up like that. You can kind of put it like this, and it'll hold. So it's just a little wonky. But overall, I do like the look of the armor. I think it looks pretty cool. I love the helmet. Chest plate's pretty cool. Shoulder, arm bits, whatever you want to call them, are okay. And I do like the gun a lot. I mean, you could take these off and just have him use the gun, and that would be pretty cool. But I also like the color combination. I think it works with the... I know it's kind of a drabbish gray, but it kind of works with the white and the red. Like, that color scheme just looks good altogether. Getting into Jetfire's transformation, really not too difficult. You're going to come around to the back, and this whole canopy section will swing up. And you can kind of see that there's two tabs here. They're going to peg into the shoulder peg holes, and it's just going to clip in with kind of a nice little snap. At this point, you can bring these arm sections, the whole wing will swivel around here 180 degrees, so you just swivel them. And you kind of have to, I don't want to say force it, but there's like a little peg that will like notch into place, and you kind of have to push past that once just to get it to go up like that. Now, this next step is actually not in the directions. They show you pushing the legs together, and then they show them closer to the body, which doesn't really make any sense. But if you look at it, you can see that what happens is there's a double joint in here, very similar to like the Combiner Wars jets, so that you can swivel the leg up closer to the body. But the directions do not show you doing that. You just kind of have to figure it out, which is kind of dumb. I don't really know why Hasbro's directions are not that great, but you'll do that, and then you'll peg the legs together. Then you can fold those feet straight down. Then you'll bring the arms around, and you'll see that there's a peg right here, and that's going to go into the fist of the hand. And then that makes it nice and solid. And then here you go. Here is Jetfire's vehicle mode. Again, reminiscent of Starscream in the fact that it's just a little off. It's not terrible. I like the fuselage area. I love the wings and the kind of gun pods up here. I don't know. There's just, again, I feel like I wish the wings were a little bit farther back, like maybe down in here. Just a little bit farther back, because there's kind of just a lot back here. But at least you can fold the legs up so it doesn't just hang back there like Starscreams do. It does have landing gear, so you can pop this down. And then you can see that the other landing gear is kind of molded into his heels. So not bad. He does have some ports up here, and he has the port on the side, so if you wanted to bring in some parts of the armor, you certainly could. You could peg this in here if you wanted, or on the side, which I do kind of like the look of that. I kind of wish he had two, because I do kind of like the look of that pegged in on the side there. But yeah, I think oh, you can take this and see how he has this peg here and this has a peg on the top. You can peg this, I believe you can peg this in here. Am I wrong? I might be wrong. Yeah, it's just a little too big. Okay, I lied. You can't do that. That would have been cool though. You could have mounted that underneath. But the peg here is just a little bit too big. Yeah, just a little too big. But overall, it's a decent little vehicle mode. Not amazing, but it's decent. I like Jetfire a lot. Again, really kind of reminiscent of Starscream. I feel like the Spark armor is a retool of that same mold because of the kind of way this flips back and the way it has treads. So I know it's different, and if you put them next to each other, it's not like you confuse them. But I don't know, they're just kind of reminiscent of each other. But I do think that the tank armor is definitely better than the bulldozer. One, I think a tank makes more sense as kind of a complementary attack vehicle more so than a bulldozer does. And I like the cannon here, and I like that you can take that off and use it as a gun. Makes a much better weapon than the weird shovel from the bulldozer for Starscream. But this guy's also kind of reminiscent of Starscream for me in the fact that I love his robot mode. Vehicle mode's kind of so-so. I think his vehicle mode is better than Starscream, and ultimately I think this is a better set than Starscream. But there are things that remind me of it. But overall, I definitely recommend picking this guy up. I think he's a fun little toy. I think the figure is great. I think the armor's great. And the color schemes mesh really well. So I definitely recommend picking this guy up. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.